Good morning, and thank you for joining us. We're here to celebrate the signing and announcement of the Engineering Workforce Consortium. I'm joined here with Linda Darr, President and CEO of ACEC, Scott Grayson, CEO of APWA, and Tom Smith, Executive Director of ASCE. Thank you for joining us, and we look forward to connecting with you later in the future.
Thank you, Patrick. Good morning, everyone, and welcome. I want to thank everyone for being here this morning, and I want to thank our consortium partners joining virtually. I also want to thank our board chair at ACEC, Gary Raba, for attending today, and I want to recognize also the volunteer leadership at APWA and ASCE, my fellow steering committee members, for their very strong support of this effort. Dominic Longobardi, president of the board at the American Public Works Association, and Fenioski Peñamora, board member at the American Society of Civil Engineers. Today marks a pivotal moment not just for our organizations, but for the future of engineering and for our entire country. The shortage of engineers has become one of the biggest challenges facing our industry. 6 months ago, we convened a group in this room to spark a vital conversation about our workforce challenges. Our workforce summit united leaders from engineering, public works, academia, and government. Together, we tackled how to attract the next generation of engineers, and equally important, how to retain and support our current talent. Two undeniable truths emerged. No single factor caused our workforce shortage, and no single solution exists to fix it. This challenge transcends individual organizations. By joining together here today, we emphasize our collective commitment to working together to build solutions. The statistics speak volumes about the urgency of our mission. ACEC's recent Engineering Business Sentiment Survey tells us that the workforce shortage continues to be the #1 issue among all of our industry leaders. More than half of survey respondents are turning down projects due to a lack of personnel. Consider this staggering fact. 1 in 3 engineering roles remains unfilled each year. 1 in 3. That's 33% of our potential workforce going untapped. Even more concerning is the attrition of our existing talent, particularly among female engineers. While 40,000 women graduate with engineering degrees each year, only 4,000 remain in the field a decade later. We have a lot of work to do, but we will also call on government to support us through their own efforts. We can't do this alone. The stark reality is that without engineers, our nation is without safe roads, bridges, housing, and workplaces. Without engineers, we won't be able to count on clean air, safe drinking water, and ways to mitigate our climate crisis. Engineers are the design geniuses behind all of these support systems that we rely on to live and to work and to build and to connect and to thrive in our daily lives. Next Tuesday, we face a significant political shift. Organizations like ACEC, ASCE, and APWA will need to adapt our messaging and strategies to engage a new cadre of lawmakers on pressing issues that have profound implications for our workforce. Policies related to immigration, licensing, STEM education funding, government-supported curriculum initiatives, family leave policies, DEI, and tax incentives for reskilling, upskilling, and continuing education. So we will have to work together to ensure that our government knows that decisions they make can dramatically impact the already fragile talent pipeline that our industry struggles with today. However, our gathering today transcends politics. This consortium sets itself apart by looking inward first for solutions. While we acknowledge that external forces will always influence our field, we have the responsibility first and foremost to shape our own destiny. This consortium symbolizes a united commitment from every organization present and every signatory of this Memorandum of Understanding. We recognize the responsibility that lies with us as an industry to attract and nurture a vibrant and skilled workforce. So our mission today is to formalize our commitment to creating an environment where we can work together to rebuild our talent pipeline that is so critical not only for our profession, but for all those we serve daily in communities across our nation. Now I am pleased to invite my friend Scott Grayson, President of the American Public Works Association, and my fellow steering committee member to the podium. Scott?
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Linda. It's a pleasure to be here and want to welcome everybody. I want to thank our partners, ASCE, ACEC, and the staff. Patrick Brady is the lead staff on this, has done an amazing amount of work, as well as each of our group staff as well. I want to welcome everyone online and those of you here. So I'm going to walk you through a bit of how we arrived here. So our group here started what was called the Engineering and Public Works Roadshow. And that really stemmed out of a discussion that we had, which was we provide a lot of great awards to infrastructure projects within each of our associations, but it's the same audiences, and we wanted to bring it out on the road and show the public that there are really great partnerships between public and private. APWA has 32,000 members who work both in the public and private sector, serving the public. And so we started there, and as we had the roadshow, highlighting great infrastructure projects, but then also thanking Congress, the White House for passing the bipartisan infrastructure law. We also spoke about a workforce shortage. And just before the law passed, APWA was speaking with the White House. We said we're excited, we're behind passage of the bill. We were excited about the $1.2 trillion in spending. We said, I said, I'm sure you know this, but there's a major supply chain shortage right now and also a workforce shortage. And it's great that we'll have all of this money, but it's a perfect storm. We also said, I mean, as a group, that we'll figure it out. And so we're here. We held our workforce summit. All of you, a lot of you and others were here. We brainstormed, we had breakout sessions, we had what's called hackathons, and so many amazing ideas emerged, which culminated into the MOU that we'll sign. And it's really about reaching out to students, looking at our educational system, and attracting new workers as well. If you flip over the first slide, thanks. So we at APWA every 3 years update our strategic plan. I know you're all excited about that. But we in these last years launched 3 new strategic initiatives. One was diversity, equity, and inclusion, public visibility, and workforce as it happened. And we had this even before we started here. And so it fit so nicely into this framework. And as we work each of these issues, these 3 items are interrelated. Public visibility, we want to be in the classroom, we want to promote K-12 STEM education, create that pipeline. DEI, looking to a wide audience to bring in to the profession and workforce as well. And then if you flip over the next slide, thank you. Oh, I have a clicker, which is great. I love these things. Let's see if it's working. Not necessarily. Can you flip over the next slide? If not, it's fine. It was a pretty picture of the bipartisan infrastructure. Yeah, it's up there. I see that. Thanks. Signing. And that really launched us into the discussion. We met with Mayor Landau, who was the president's infrastructure advisor, and he said, this is truly a once-in-a-lifetime amount of money. Make it work. Next slide, please. So we are. And at APWA, we launched a workforce program, both on the advocacy side, but then also on the education side as well. And you see in my slide here, we're focused on education, recruitment, and then equally as important, how do you retain these great engineers and workforce once you have them? So with that, I'll wrap up my comments. I'm extremely excited about what's yet to come. And back when I started in this career, everybody signed MOUs, and you just sign them to have a pile of paper. I'm extremely excited that I know this group will create the solutions that we need. It's a lot like moonshot thinking. If we have a group of great organizations and great people in one room, it's amazing what we'll ultimately accomplish. Thank you. With that, Tom Smith.
Thanks very much, Scott. Good morning, everybody. Greetings. I'm Tom Smith with the American Society of Civil Engineers. It's a great pleasure to be here with y'all. I think ASCE's worked kind of individually in different groups with a lot of the folks here in the room. Last night, Monica and Sandy and I were talking about EJCDC contract documents. That's NSPE and ACEC. Of course, Linda and Scott and I worked on Envision rating tools, the Institute for Sustainable Infrastructure. That was a big initiative that's still being utilized throughout the country and throughout the globe on sustainable projects. We're all finding that we're working on workforce issues together. We also, by the way, worked very hard, as Scott referenced, on the bipartisan infrastructure law. That was something that we all collaborated on, and many of us had representatives on that White House lawn when that was signed. But when we realized then we're working on these workforce issues, can we do something better, more together? And kudos, thank you, Linda and ACEC, for your leadership in helping to bring this together, and Patrick and Jeff and Scott with APWA. It's been a pleasure to work with your team to really drive this, because this is something I think that all of us are facing, the country is facing. We're also finding it in other countries as well, by the way. I spent yesterday with the International Trade Commission at a roundtable on workforce. There with Microsoft and LinkedIn, American Bar Association. There was probably two dozen associations or organizations all collaborating on workforce issues with the commissioners for the Trade Commission. Similarly here, and I mentioned to them about our Engineering Workforce Commission. They were delighted to hear about this because they know how important engineering is to the future of this country and to the future of the planet. Everything that we are doing is going to be absolutely critical to the success of the United States, but also to the success of future generations. So we take that very seriously. We know how important engineering is to our future. And we're going to have a workforce that can deliver. The bipartisan infrastructure law was a huge success. We've been working on that for decades. And to get that across the finish line was tremendous. But it was really a small investment towards what we need going forward, including when you add the Inflation Reduction Act and the CHIPS and Science Act. We need significantly more investment, but we also need significantly more innovation. We've got to be thinking differently. That's one of the reasons ASCE, with our Industry Leaders Council, and I see Mike Luce here, who's been very active with this, and it's great to have, by the way, the Navy and the Army even collaborating here today. But with the Industry Leaders Council driving our future world vision, looking at what's the future going to look like 70 years out. What are the trends that are going to be impacting this planet that we have to be prepared for, that our workforce has to be prepared for? And so we've got a lot of challenges, and that's one of the reasons why we released a new IMAX film called Cities of the Future. We just did that this year. And in the past, we did Dream Big. And in this film, Kat, you're going to hear from Kathy with Discover E fairly shortly. We showcase the Future Cities competition. And we're getting people engaged and see how exciting engineering is, and make sure that they understand that at the K through 12 level. So we're really showcasing that with this IMAX film, trying to get that out there before the public and before policymakers and before parents, so that they can encourage their kids to go into engineering because of the impact, the meaning of this profession. And I think now, by collaborating, we'll be far more successful. You see the list of organizations here, and I expect this will continue to expand. Because together, we're going to be able to really make a difference. We have tremendous gaps on the workforce side. We have as you heard, reference to gender diversity and underrepresented groups in the engineering profession that are not really representing the communities that we serve at the level that we need to. We have tremendous opportunities to improve, always looking to improve, even things that we're doing great we want to improve. So together, I'm confident we'll be able to do that. So I want to thank you all for participating and joining in this effort. I'm really confident that we're going to make a tremendous impact together. Thank you. And then now I think we turn this over to MOU signing.
Thank you, Scott, and thank you, Tom. And next time we'll work on getting the Air Force and the Marines in too. So.
I'm an Air Force brat.
Yeah, well, I wasn't in any war yet, so let's hope that it stays that way. So I want to thank Scott and Tom for those excellent remarks. Now I would like to invite a representative from each of the consortium participants in the room to, Patrick, maybe you can come up here and help us with this. We're going to, at the main table, sign the memorandum of understanding as your name is called. I'm going to call on each one of you individually. We do have some folks virtually online with us that I also want to call out, and they will be signing by proxy. So we appreciate their participation very much. Those people are Donna Shea with the Connecticut Transportation Institute, Claire Hassas-Claveau, Engineers Without Borders USA, Tiffany Swanigan, Society of Women Engineers, Annie Perrin with the Institute of Electrical and Electronics Engineers, and Shirley Chi with Elevate Her. So coming up to the podium, I will first call Diana Endenschink with ACE Mentor. And then on deck, let's have Vanessa Bateman with the Army Corps of Engineers. Thank you, Diana. Next up, we have Kathy Renzetti, who doesn't have to move far because she's right next door with Discover-E. And then on deck, we have Colleen Egan with the Institute of Transportation Engineers. And Colleen, tell me if I said it the wrong way. Colleen Egan, my apologies, with the Institute of Transportation Engineers. On deck, we have Michael Luce with the National Academy of Construction. Thank you, Colleen. Everybody has a better signature than me. Next up, we have Monica Schultz with the National Society of Professional Engineers. Thank you, Michael. And on deck, we have retired Lieutenant General Todd Semonite with the Society of American Military Engineers. Thank you, sir. So I want to thank everybody. I, for one, I got a few chills because I'm just so excited with all the people we see on the screen behind us and the fact that everyone together is making this commitment. We all hear from our members almost every day about this enormous challenge that we're all facing. And we all were working on it, but together we're going to make such a huge difference, and we're going to make it in our lifetimes, and that's what it needs to be done. So congratulations to everybody for being a part of it. Thank you very much. Now the real work begins. So to close our event, I'm going to call to the podium Kathy Renzetti from Discover Engineering, and then after that, we're going to have some individual videos done, and we're going to be able to push this out to the world. So Kathy, thank you.
Thank you. So I'm Kathy Renzetti. I'm the CEO of Discover Engineering, and many of you know us from Engineers Week and Introduce the Girl to Engineering, and Tom mentioned Future City. And I was asked to present the close. So I do want to thank each and every one of you for being a part of this pivotal gathering. Today, we reaffirmed our commitment to the future of engineering and public works, centered around attracting the next generation of talent, retaining the existing workforce in engineering and public works, and advocating for industry growth and sustainability. These are ambitious goals, and it's clear that meeting these goals will demand our collective energy and determination. 6 months ago, many of us met here to spark these essential conversations about the growing workforce challenges we face in engineering and public works. And through our summit, we identified the complexities and the urgency of addressing these shortages, which remain among the most pressing issues confronting our country. The statistics shared this morning by Linda and Tom underscore this urgency, and they reinforce why we must work together to overcome these challenges. But perhaps most importantly, today we formalized our commitment to cultivating a welcoming and supportive environment for both new and experienced engineers. We are at a turning point where every action we take now will shape the resilience and the success of our industry in the decades to come. Thank you for your engagement and your dedication. Let us leave here today ready to act decisively and collaboratively to build the future of engineering and public works, one that is stronger, more innovative, and more inclusive. Thank you again for participating. This now concludes our programming.